Welcome back to my channel. My name is Tanya and I'm for the people. One place I wouldn't go hiking at is the Appalachian Mountains. It's one scary place. They find all kind of weird stuff there. But you'll see. Let's go.
That's not Christian. That ain't Christian.
Appalachian encounters often begin with a chilling sense of being watched by the unknown. They range from a lone hiker tracking a shadowy figure staring back from the dark woods to a couple uncovering a sinister warning carved inside their cabin walls. But when the wilderness starts pushing back, will you heed the warnings? What do you think is really lurking out there? A man who lived in the Appalachian Mountains had been hearing odd animal-like noises coming from the forest near his house for a while. Wanting to know what was causing them, he picked up his camera and walked into the trees. As he moved deeper between the trees, the noises seemed to get closer. Then his camera caught something in the darkness, a shape partly hidden, barely visible, and appearing to stare back at him.
Guys, if you're still balding in 2026, what are you doing? There's an easy solution. It doesn't cost tens of thousands.
The footage was too unclear to prove what it was, so people online quickly formed different theories. Some believed it was just an animal in the dark, while others thought the shape looked too strange to dismiss. In low light, the brain can turn unclear shapes into something much more frightening. But if you saw something watching you from deep in the woods at night, would you stay calm? What do you think he captured? A father was taking a morning walk with his daughter in the Appalachian Mountains when they discovered something unusual. Deep in the forest, away from the trail, they saw a large wooden structure made from branches and logs. But it did not look like an ordinary shelter. The branches were stacked and placed in a strange intentional pattern, almost as if someone had built it for a certain purpose. After looking up similar structures online, they found theories saying that some formations like this have been connected to ritual activity or strange gatherings in remote wooded areas. Of course, there is no proof of that. Other people believe it may have been something random made by hikers or campers. Maybe it was just a random build, or maybe it had a purpose only the builder understood. Without knowing who built them, your mind naturally starts asking why they are there. What do you think it was used for? What would you do if you saw someone walking toward you from the darkness of a tunnel? This group barely had time to react before the footage cut off. The friends had set up camp inside the tunnel,
That's not Christian. That ain't Christian.
made a small fire, and were sitting around talking. As they relaxed, something began to appear in the darkness at the other end. A figure slowly walked toward them, covered in some kind of white substance that made it difficult to tell what it was. The moment became even stranger when the video suddenly cut off before anything else could be seen. The scene was likely staged maybe as a prank by one of the friends. But if it was real, being trapped in that tunnel would be terrifying. What do you think was walking toward them? He had been looking through old family photos and videos from a trip with his father and siblings. At first, nothing seemed strange. It looked like a simple family outing from many years ago. But when he watched the footage again decades later, he spotted something in the background that he had never noticed before. A figure could be seen standing there. When he asked his family about it, they all gave the same answer. No one else had been with them that day. There were no strangers nearby, no friends, and no people passing through. Still, the figure was clearly visible in the footage. Unsettled and looking for answers, the man shared the images online. But not long after he posted them, his account was deleted without explanation. Maybe the figure had a normal explanation, or maybe the missing follow-up made the story feel even stranger. What do you think he found in that old footage? A group of friends were driving at night when they spotted lights far ahead on a quiet road. As they got closer, they saw figures standing motionless near the roadside. Each one was covered from head to toe in white robes, and one of them seemed to be holding a burning torch. The encounter only lasted a short moment, but it left the group deeply unsettled. Because the area was so isolated, it did not feel like a simple prank. They drove away, convinced they had seen something they were never supposed to witness. A Reddit user named Damian Courtney shared a photo that their aunt had taken during a cemetery walk in Virginia about 20 years earlier. According to the story, she had gone with a small group to visit an old family cemetery deep in the Appalachian Mountains. The group hiked there, hoping to find old headstones and take pictures of them for relatives. But when they arrived, the area was so overgrown that most of the graves were almost impossible to find. They took several photos, and at the time, no one noticed anything unusual. Only later, after the pictures were developed, did they see something strange. In one image near a tombstone, a figure appeared to be standing in the frame. The uploader said there were no other people in that part of the cemetery besides their group, and no one remembered seeing anyone standing in the vegetation when the photos were taken. What made the story even stranger was that the aunt later claimed she used a Ouija board to ask about the figure. According to her, the board gave the name Teresa Collier and described the figure as an 8-year-old girl. Maybe the photo has a simple explanation, or maybe the name made the image harder to forget. What do you think appeared in that cemetery photo? TikToker Mosh Mob shared a clip recorded in their backyard in the Appalachian Mountains at around 3 a.m. In the video, a faint whistle can be heard coming from somewhere past the trees. Across the Appalachian region, hikers and residents have often reported strange whistling sounds at night. These sounds are commonly tied to stories about something in the dark woods copying human whistles on purpose. Because of that, some locals warn visitors not to whistle back and to act like they never heard it at all. Of course, there is no proof that anything unusual was behind the sound. But with so many similar stories coming from the Appalachian Mountains, it does make you wonder, can all of them really be just a coincidence?
Hell no.
Sometimes, old houses do not just hold history, they hold warnings. This couple only discovered theirs after tearing into the oldest part of the cabin. Reddit user Sav3434 said she and her husband bought an old Appalachian house to fix up and live in. They stayed there for a few months about 5 years ago, but left after experiencing strange, unexplained events. Years later, they returned to remodel the home. The house had an original 1800s log cabin section and a newer 1990s addition. While removing siding from the older part, they found words carved into one of the original logs. It read, "Demon be gone." Old carvings can come from personal beliefs, warnings, or past owners. But in a house already linked to strange events, that message feels hard to ignore. Maybe it was only an old phrase, or maybe someone left it there for a reason. What would you do? A group of hikers exploring Vermont's Green Mountain National Forest found something disturbing near Mount Tabor. While moving through a boggy area in late April, they spotted what appeared to be an old pair of hiking boots partly buried in the ground. At first, it did not seem that strange. But when they looked closer, they realized human foot bones were still inside the boots. Police were called to the area right away. The first search did not uncover much else, but several days later, investigators came back with a larger team, including search dogs and U.S. Forest Service personnel. That second search led them to more human remains nearby, along with outdoor gear and personal belongings hidden under leaves and soil. Authorities confirmed the remains were human, but they have not released the person's identity or said how long the remains had been there. Maybe it was a tragic hiking accident, someone who got lost, or something still waiting to be understood in those mountains. What do you think happened? Frances Dell Apperson left Charlotte, North Carolina in May 2022 to meet her family for a hike at Hawksbill Mountain Trail in the Linville Gorge Wilderness. But she never showed up. When her family could not reach her by phone, they first thought she may have changed plans or been delayed. But as more time passed, their worry grew. Days later, authorities found her locked silver Hyundai in a parking lot near Linville Falls, not at Hawksbill Mountain, where she was supposed to go. Inside the car, there were no clear clues showing where she went next. The Linville Gorge area is known for steep cliffs, thick forest, rough terrain, and weather that can change quickly. Searchers were also concerned because Frances was deaf, meaning she may not have heard rescuers calling if she was lost or injured. Large search efforts followed using helicopters, drones, search dogs, and ground teams. But very little was ever found, only a scarf believed to be hers, and a small angel figurine matching one left inside her car. Her family still does not know why she ended up near Linville Falls instead of Hawksbill Mountain. Years later, Francis Apperson's disappearance remains unsolved. Trail cameras can catch moments no person would ever see. This one, set up by a co-worker, captured a deer standing extremely close to the lens. Because these cameras react to movement, animals sometimes walk right into the perfect spot at the perfect second. The result is a strange once-in-a-lifetime photo. Maybe the deer was curious, or maybe it was just perfect timing. Have you ever seen a trail camera shot like this? During the walk, the hiker saw something behind the brush and quickly started recording. In the footage, a humanoid-looking figure can be seen partly covered by branches, staying strangely still, as if it did not want to be seen. The uploader believed it might be a skinwalker, referring to regional folklore about shape-shifting beings. Others were not convinced and said it looked more like a person crouching, or maybe someone copying the familiar internet-style rake sightings.
Did y'all just see them eyes? How in the hell is that a person?
Maybe it was someone hiding, maybe it was staged, or maybe the hiker saw something they could not explain. What do you think was behind those bushes? A Reddit user shared a story from a hiking trip in the Shenandoah Mountains near the Appalachian Trail. While exploring the area around their campsite, they spotted something in the distance. They called out to see if anyone was there, but no one answered. Curious but still careful, they moved closer and realized it was a man-made shelter hidden in the woods. In the comments, many people said they would have left right away. Staying overnight near an unknown shelter can feel risky because you do not know who built it, who might be living nearby, or whether someone could return. Luckily, nothing else happened. Whoever made the shelter never appeared, and the hikers finished their trip without any trouble. Still, finding something like that deep in the mountains would make most people uneasy. Maybe it was harmless, or maybe it was better not to know who it belonged to. What would you have done? A person was driving through a remote area when they noticed something unusual near a Catholic church. Several girls dressed in white were standing around what looked like a burn pile. From the road, the scene appeared strange and unsettling, leaving the driver unsure what they had just seen. Was something darker happening there? Or was it just a normal event that looked disturbing from a distance? What do you think? A Reddit user named JellyDonut1492 was in a cemetery in New Bern, North Carolina, with family taking their usual pumpkin head-themed photos. While editing the pictures and darkening the eyes and mouth of the pumpkin, they noticed something eerie in one image. Behind the woman, there seemed to be a faint figure of another woman. They did not recognize her and were sure no one else had been nearby, especially not that close. What made it feel even stranger was that their little niece, who was on the right side of the photo, had been walking around and talking to someone at the time. They did not think much of it then, but later it felt unsettling. Sometimes lighting, motion blur, and editing shadows can make a background shape look like a person. But in a cemetery photo, that kind of detail is hard to ignore. Was it just a camera effect, or did something really appear behind them? While taking a break in the forest, the hiker saw something moving in the distance near a spring. As it came closer, he pulled out his phone and zoomed in. The footage appears to show a figure covered in dark fur. From the hiker's point of view, it looked unusually tall, with some estimates placing it somewhere between 8 and 9 feet. Some viewers believed it may have been a person wearing dark clothing. Others thought it matched descriptions often connected to Sasquatch sightings. So, was it just someone walking in the woods, or did the hiker capture something harder to explain? The video quality makes it difficult to know for sure. What do you think was out there?
Hello.
Do you want to play with me?
Sure. You want me to help you with your groceries?
Yeah.
This journey with childhood cancer comes at you in waves. Every day we wake up knowing that our 2-year-old has cancer.
A person shared a trail camera photo on Facebook that was reportedly taken in Loudoun County, East Tennessee. According to the uploader, it came from an area where they had already experienced strange things while coyote hunting at night. The image appeared to show a human-like figure standing deep in the forest. The photo was said to have been taken in 2020, but the person avoided posting it for years because they thought people would instantly call it fake. Some viewers believed the figure looked like a Civil War soldier, pointing to what seemed like tall boots and old-style clothing. Others thought it was probably just a real person caught in bad lighting or blurred by the trail camera. Still, the uploader said the location was far from any town or trail, which made him wonder why anyone would be out there at all. Maybe it was just a person in the wrong place, or maybe the camera caught something harder to explain. What do you think was standing in those woods? Sometimes the most dangerous encounter in the wilderness does not begin with a strange sound or a shadow. It begins with a stranger who seems harmless. In 2008, Scott Johnston and Sean Farmer were camping near Wapiti Shelter when they met a man calling himself Ricky Williams, later identified as Randall Smith. He ate with them and stayed for hours, even though he claimed his own campsite was more than an hour away. Around 8:30 p.m., Smith said he was leaving. Not long after Johnston and Farmer were seriously injured, but both managed to escape and survive. Investigators later linked Smith to the 1981 deaths of Robert Mountford Jr. and Susan Ramsey in the same general area. He was taken into custody and later died in prison, leaving one question behind. Why did it happen? The explorers were moving through a remote wooded area when they noticed something unusual among the trees, a strange opening in the ground. Curious, they decided to climb inside. What they found looked almost like an underground facility buried beneath the surface. According to local rumors, the place had once been linked to satanic activity. As they went deeper, they claimed to find strange symbols on parts of the walls, along with old writing scattered through the tunnels. But then they came across something even more disturbing. There appeared to be human bones and old shoes left behind, dozens of them spread throughout the underground area. No one knows exactly what the site was really used for or how those items ended up underground. Maybe there is a simple explanation, or maybe something happened there that was never meant to be found. What do you think this place was?
I think that place was something for rituals, and I would never climb through no tunnel. They just be doing anything to get killed.
What would you do if someone vanished in the woods and left no trace behind? According to this legend, one woman spent the rest of her life waiting for an answer. According to the story, a man named Mr. Lewis went hunting one day and never returned. He was supposed to be home that evening, but he never came back. His wife, known locally as Miss Lewis, began looking for him and asked neighbors if anyone had seen him. The story says no one had. Local men then organized searches and combed through the nearby woods for days, but they found nothing, no tracks, no bones, and no belongings. As time passed, Miss Lewis was said to grow weaker and more withdrawn. The legend claims she spent years sitting on her front porch in a rocking chair, staring toward the hollow, and waiting for her husband to return. After she died, the story became even darker. People began reporting footsteps, cries for help, and the sound of a rocking chair near the abandoned shack where she once lived. Unlike documented disappearances or verified missing person cases, there is no official record police report or reliable news account confirming these events. What do you think happened to Mr. Lewis? Sometimes the hardest wilderness stories are not about what people see in the forest, but what they never see coming. The man's case became one of those tragedies. A 23-year-old man from Missouri named Julian Horton reportedly vanished while believed to be hiking near the Appalachian Trail in North Georgia. He was last seen by family on March 3rd, and days later an emergency alert was sent to people near the trail asking them to watch for him. Authorities believed he may have been somewhere in the remote North Georgia wilderness where steep terrain and dense forest made the search difficult. Search efforts expanded across the region, but days later, Julian's body was found in Fannin County. Officials said there were no signs of foul play. Locals later claimed he had left behind disturbing notes, with more reportedly found near where he was discovered. The case became a painful reminder that silent struggles can go unseen. What do you think people should pay closer attention to in cases like this? A trail camera in Hamlin County, Tennessee, captured strange footage in a backyard garden. An elderly woman had set up the camera after tomatoes and other vegetables kept vanishing during the night. But when she checked the recording, she saw something she could not explain. In the darkness, a thin, human-like figure appeared to move through the garden. Its shape and movement did not seem to match any known animal. Some locals claim that sightings like this were not unusual in the area. Hamlin County sits within the Appalachian Valley, a region often connected to stories of strange and unexplained creatures. A man was hiking deep inside a national forest when he found something he never expected. Far from any marked trail, he discovered a small man-made cabin hidden in the woods. It looked abandoned, so he carefully checked inside. What he found was disturbing. There was a hole in the floor filled with sandbags and covered in flies. Around the cabin, he also noticed makeshift booby traps, bottles set up to make noise if anyone disturbed them, almost like a warning system. But the strangest discovery was outside. On a nearby tree, someone had nailed what looked like souvenirs into the trunk photos of people, belt buckles, bottle caps, keychains, and rings. No one was found there. After the hiker shared the discovery online, many people told him he should leave right away. Whatever that cabin was used for, it did not feel like something anyone was supposed to find. The man lived in a remote home surrounded by trees. After sensing that something felt off during the night, he reviewed his outdoor security footage. That is when he noticed a faint white figure near the edge of the woods. For a brief moment, it looked almost solid. Then it suddenly disappeared with no clear movement or direction. Some viewers believed it could have been light distortion or camera interference in poor visibility, but others felt the way it appeared and vanished made it harder to explain. The homeowner also believed it was not just a camera glitch because he said he had felt something there. Maybe it was only a visual error, or maybe the camera caught what he sensed that night. What do you think it was? A tip from hikers near the Appalachian Trail led deputies to a van in North Carolina. What started as a strange encounter quickly turned into a criminal case. In April 2023, the Macon County Sheriff's Office received information about two people allegedly approaching through hikers around Rock Gap and offering illegal substances. Deputies were given a description of a vehicle linked to the reports. Soon after, officers found and stopped a van matching that description. A K-9 unit was called in to help with the search. Inside the vehicle, deputies found a large amount of illegal substances. The two people inside the van, Bobby Drellick and Yvonne Edward Crea, were taken into custody and charged. Authorities later confirmed that Crea was also wanted in Virginia on unrelated charges. Thankfully, the tip was taken seriously, the van was stopped, and the situation ended without hikers being harmed. It is a reminder that even one report can make a real difference on a remote trail. A man named Mike No Monster shared ring camera footage from his home showing something unusual. According to him, the house was completely quiet and everyone was asleep when the backyard camera suddenly detected movement. The camera recorded a dark figure slowly moving through the yard. Its shape looked tall and upright, with something like a long veil or habit covering its head and shoulders, making it resemble a nun-like silhouette. There were no clear signs of anyone entering the yard, and no later footage showed the figure again. Mike said he had never seen anything like it before or after. Maybe it was just a person caught in poor lighting, or maybe the camera captured something harder to explain. How would you react if this showed up on your backyard camera?
Scared.
In 1974, a 26-year-old hiker from South Carolina named Joel Eugene Paulson was traveling the Appalachian Trail with 17-year-old Margaret McFadden. That evening, the two stopped at Low Gap Shelter, where they met another hiker who called himself Ralph Howard Fox. By the next morning, the encounter turned tragic. Fox attacked Paulson, leaving him fatally injured, then took his hiking gear and traveler's checks. Fox forced Margaret to leave with him as he fled the area. Thankfully, after several days, she managed to escape and contact authorities. Ralph Howard Fox was later arrested, pleaded guilty, and was sentenced to life in prison. The case deeply shook the hiking community and became one of the Appalachian Trail's most disturbing true crime stories. This person often bushwhacks through remote land far from roads, towns, or marked trails. During one hike deep in the foothills of the southern Appalachian Mountains, she found something unexpected, a lone grave marker standing in the forest miles from any clear sign of civilization. The discovery made her pause and wonder who had been buried there and why their grave was placed so far away from the normal path. A walk through the woods in Silver Point, Tennessee turned strange when Daniel Whitehead spotted a dark, upright figure between the trees. He quickly recorded the clip.
Do you see that?
The uploader said the figure resembled typical Bigfoot sightings, but many viewers were skeptical. Some thought it could have been a prank or someone in a costume. When a dark shape is far away and partly hidden by trees, it is hard to know what you are really seeing. Maybe it was just a person, or maybe it was something harder to explain. What do you think Daniel saw? A Reddit user shared a still image taken by their Ring doorbell camera. Their home was located along the Appalachian Trail in North Carolina, surrounded by dense forest. In the image, a small upright figure can be seen near the house. The user described it as looking like a little person. As the image spread online, viewers suggested different explanations. Some thought it might be an animal caught mid-movement, possibly a catbird or other wildlife distorted by motion blur. Maybe it was just an animal frozen in a strange pose, or maybe the image caught something harder to explain. What do you think was standing near the house? Nikki Dunn, known on TikTok as Dunn Family 2023, lives with her family in the Appalachian Mountains. One night, their backyard security camera recorded something disturbing. In the clip, her husband is outside at night with their dog when he suddenly hears a strange sound from somewhere in the darkness. It almost sounds like a woman crying out for help. He calls out, asking if whoever is screaming is okay, but no one responds. The footage ends shortly after with no further movement or sounds captured on camera. In the Appalachian region, animals such as foxes, bobcats, or mountain lions can make screams that sound eerily human at night. So was someone really calling for help out there, or was it only local wildlife? What do you think they heard?
Thanks, Mike.
See you next month.
So you can get these delivered?
It's literally water.com.
While hiking along a remote part of the Appalachian Trail, this person came across a disturbing sight. Attached to a tree at eye level was a structure made from animal bones positioned directly toward the path. At first, it felt threatening, almost like a warning someone had left behind. But discoveries like this do not always mean danger. In some cases, similar displays are connected to morbid or macabre art, where images of death, decay, and nature are used to create emotion or meaning. Artists, hikers, or locals may arrange found animal bones as personal symbols, folk art, or ritual-like displays without harmful intent. Still, it is impossible to know for sure what this one meant. Maybe it was just dark artwork, or maybe it had a personal purpose only the maker understood. Either way, finding it alone on a remote trail would make most people uneasy, especially when you do not know who placed it there or who might come back for it. While spending the day in the Lone Peak Mountains, a man noticed something strange moving on a distant slope. A large figure was steadily climbing uphill. From far away, it almost looked like a person, but its size immediately stood out. The figure appeared taller and wider than a normal hiker. The Lone Peak area has long been tied to reports of large unidentified creatures, and sightings like this have kept local rumors alive for years. Unfortunately, the man was too far away to get a closer look, leaving the footage open to question. Ann Houghton was no stranger to the Great Smoky Mountains. She had spent years on its trails, giving her time as a volunteer and helping preserve the park she cared about deeply. On January 28, 2025, the 73-year-old headed out for a one-day hike near the Enlow Creek Trail in Great Smoky Mountains National Park. It was an area she had visited many times before, but this trip would become the one she never returned from. She planned to hike for one day and return by January 29th. But when she did not come back as expected, concern quickly grew. Her vehicle was later found parked at Smokemont Campground, and she was officially reported missing on February 1st. Search teams from several local agencies, along with park law enforcement, began a large search of the surrounding area. On February 2nd, 2025, at about 1:53 p.m., Ann Houghton was found deceased roughly a quarter mile off the Enlow Creek Trail. Ann was a resident of Jackson County, North Carolina, and had volunteered in the park for more than 20 years. In 2022, she was nominated for a National Park Service Award, honoring outstanding volunteer service. Even people who spend years on the trail can run into danger when the terrain is steep, wooded, and far from quick help. Officials found no signs of foul play. Ann Houghton's death remains a tragic loss, but she is remembered for more than how her final hike ended. She is remembered as someone who gave decades of her life to protecting the park she loved. What would you do if someone silently followed you in a nearly empty forest? This woman stayed calm, but what happened next left her shaken. A woman shared a disturbing experience from an evening walk in the forest. For months, she had noticed the same man sitting on the same bench almost every day. He never talked to anyone or interacted with people. He simply sat there and stared, At first it only felt uncomfortable. But that evening the forest was quieter than usual, with very few people around. As she passed the bench, the man stood up a few seconds later and began walking behind her. Feeling uneasy, she turned around and headed back the way she came. The man stopped, turned around too, and followed her again. That was when she realized something was wrong. She sat down on the bench she had used earlier and kept pepper spray hidden in her hand ready if she needed it. The man walked past her and sat on another bench nearby. Then she opened her phone camera and saw him behaving in an explicit and disturbing way. When he noticed he was being recorded, he quickly tried to cover himself, returned to the bench, fixed his clothing, and walked away. Shaken, she ran and contacted the forest guards. 3 guards searched the area, but the man was never found. She also reported the incident to police, who told her to contact them again if he returned. Maybe he had done this before, or maybe she caught him before things escalated further. What would you have done in her situation? One night, a Reddit user's trail camera suddenly went off. When he checked the footage, he noticed a strange shape near a tree. Not sure what he was seeing, he shared the image online for answers. The post quickly drew mixed reactions. Some people thought it was only a tree stump or natural growth, while others suggested pareidolia, when the brain sees faces or figures in random shapes. A few commenters told him to return during the day and take a comparison photo. But one question still bothered him: if it was just a tree, what triggered the camera in the first place? At around 4 a.m., a woman was driving alone through a remote empty road with no traffic, no lights, and no activity nearby. As she passed a wooded stretch, her dash cam caught a humanoid figure standing on the right side of the road. Unsettled, she did not slow down or stop. She kept driving and left it behind in the darkness. Night footage can make shapes hard to identify, but seeing something human-like in such an isolated place would disturb anyone. Was it just a person out there alone, or something harder to explain?
Nobody talks about how to start chair Tai Chi when your belly sticks out like this. Your chest is heavy like this.
A group hike on Hawksbill Mountain took an odd turn when someone spotted a small piece of paper tucked beneath a dead leaf. At first it looked like ordinary trash until they picked it up. The discovery happened in Pisgah National Forest. After realizing it was not just litter, the hikers shared it on Reddit, hoping someone could identify it. Users quickly pointed out that it looked like a Schuylkill note, a type of printed paper often filled with symbols, dark messages, and conspiracy-style claims. Similar pages have reportedly been found for years, especially around Pennsylvania and parts of the Appalachian Trail region. Whoever leaves them behind has never been clearly identified. Maybe it is meant as a message. Maybe it is just meant to confuse people. But finding one quietly placed in the woods would make anyone wonder who put it there and why. While hiking through the forest, this person noticed something strange ahead. A red light appeared above a thick group of trees, slowly rising from within the canopy. It glowed steadily for several seconds, bright enough to stand out against the woods. Some viewers thought it might have been a distress flare, but flares usually climb much higher and burn much brighter before fading. Others suggested it could have been a drone or another man-made light source, although no sound was reported and no clear shape could be seen. In the end, no explanation was ever confirmed. The user recently shared an experience after seeing the brown mountain lights from Wise Man's View. Below the overlook was a steep cliff, and beyond it, dense wilderness stretched for miles into the darkness. According to the user, more than 15 bright lights appeared across the mountain. They also said the lights showed up in areas where no known roads are believed to exist. The Brown Mountain Lights have been reported for over a century, with some of the earliest published accounts dating back to around 1910. Over the years, many witnesses have described glowing or moving lights in the same region. Some believe the lights may come from natural causes, including geological or mineral-related activity.
Yeah.
But after decades of reports, no single explanation has been accepted by everyone. Maybe there is a simple cause, or maybe this is one mystery the mountains still keep. What do you think caused the lights that night? In 2001, Louise Chaput, a 52-year-old woman from Quebec, traveled to Pinkham's Grant, New Hampshire for a weekend getaway. She checked into a lodge at the Appalachian Mountain Club Visitor Center, hoping for a quiet stay in the mountains. During the trip, Louise went out alone for a short hike on the Lost Pond Trail with the trailhead located just across the road from the lodge. But by the following Monday, she had not returned. After hearing nothing from her, Louise's family contacted local authorities and reported her missing. A search was launched across the surrounding area. Tragically, on Thanksgiving Day, Louise was found along the trail. Investigators determined that she had suffered serious injuries caused by an assault. To this day, no suspect has been identified, and the case remains unsolved. Deep in the forest, a man found something that did not look natural.
I see this thing. This thing is. What is this? What is this?
It was a rectangular structure made entirely from tree branches. The branches were tightly stacked and locked together, making the shape look surprisingly solid. Nearby rocks had been grouped in a way that also seemed deliberate. Nothing about the scene felt random. After recording it, the man decided to leave. Maybe someone built it by hand, or maybe it had a purpose he could not understand. What do you think created it? One night, a person was walking their dog when they noticed something unusual in the sky and began recording. Above them, a ring-shaped object came into view. It looked almost perfectly circular with lights around the outer edge creating a glowing outline in the night sky. No one ever confirmed what the object really was. Late one night, a family heard a loud bang outside and went to check what had happened. When they looked up, they saw a bright light shining from behind the clouds and quickly began recording. The clip was short and no official explanation was ever given. So what do you think they saw that night? A late-night backyard alert made this homeowner check their security camera. What appeared on screen was small, strange, and hard to believe. Out of the darkness, a tiny, unusual-looking figure slowly walked into the yard. A few seconds later, a dog noticed it, and the footage cut off before anything else was shown. Some details in the clip feel off, making it seem more likely to be AI-generated or heavily edited. But if it was
That thing walk like me. I walk slow and it walks slow too. But damn, why is all their eyes glowing?
real, what do you think walked through that yard? This photo was taken at 7:20 p.m. by a motion-activated game camera on a remote ranch. The image appears to show a human-like figure with what looks like heels visible on its feet. According to the uploader, the camera was set up near the site of an old homestead on the property. The land is private with limited access, and the owner said no one matching that figure had ever been seen on or near the ranch. No tracks were found, and no clear explanation was ever given. So, did the camera capture an unexpected intruder, or was something else moving through the property that evening? One night, while watching the stars, a man recorded something unusual in the sky. Several strange lights could be seen moving through the darkness. They did not look like ordinary stars or typical aircraft, and their motion seemed controlled and out of place. After the clip spread online, viewers began sharing theories. Some suggested they could be UAPs or even UFOs, but no official explanation was ever given. The source of the lights remains unknown, leaving viewers to decide what they think was moving across the sky. A photo taken in 2020 was recently found again, but the person who took it could not remember why it had been taken. When he showed the image to his girlfriend, she immediately felt uneasy. In the photo, a strange face seemed to appear just above a chair, almost like it was watching. What made it even more unsettling was where the photo had been taken inside her childhood home. The person who shared it said he does not believe in paranormal activity, but the image bothered him enough to ask people online what they thought. One possible explanation was burned wood or damaged material reflecting sunlight in a strange way.
Well, I hope y'all like that video right there. But one thing about that, I would never, ever move to the Appalachian Mountains. Never. Too many strange incidents happen up there, and I would never go hiking alone like that old lady did. There's too much going on in this world today. Too many um, animals and creatures that we have never ever saw before. We are seeing now, even in the water. You know, when they dive down there, they see things that they never even saw before. So I hope y'all like this video. Please like and share. I mean, please like and subscribe. Um, and have a great day.